for you. Hi, Tato. You are loved. I'm Kim, and step right up. Do you need to hear if your immersion is ruined? Do you need me to tell you if your immersion is ruined? Probably not. If you didn't feel like your immersion is ruined, then it's probably not. Anyways, I was watching the newest episode of Ahsoka, episode 6, season 1, if there ever is future seasons. Hello, future people. Do we have a tense I can refer to you as? Probably. Hello. I was watching the episode and my brain... We're jumping into the deep end of linguistics and also of the series Ahsoka, so there's huge spoilers. Episode 6, season 1, episode 6 spoilers, especially huge, giant, girthy, dripping spoilers. I was watching the series and there was language, and I can't turn the linguistics part of my brain off. I started analyzing the language while watching the series, which I can enjoy stuff, I swear. It's my brain. And I started noticing some discrepancies there. Not to say my immersion was ruined. Now, if you have seen episode 6 of season 1 of Ahsoka, if there's ever more seasons in the future, hi, future people. What's our greeting in the future? Is it peace? I hope this still means peace and not something else. Gestures change the meaning. Did you know that? You would know that there are a species native to the planet we are on that speak a certain language. We will come to that. We're not looking at that yet. I swear this is connected. First time we see, well, this is not the first time we see a language other than Galactic Basic, which is just English, which is an interesting thing that canonically the common language in the galaxy is English. It's different from some other works. For example, I think Tolkien's thing is that The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit are his translations from Westron, which was the language, the common tongue of Middle-earth. This is not the first time we hear language other than Basic, but this is the first time we're seeing kind of locals. They are bandits. We see them when Sabine is looking for Ezra. That's spoilers, by the way. Huge spoilers. Please don't look here in the wilds. Sabine gets attacked by a group of bandits. I'm watching this through Disney Plus because this is the official subtitling, and the subtitling is important in what the language stuff here. The subtitles say bandit leader speaking alien language. What we need now is the greatest program, which is this. That's the official logo since 1991 when it was created. It's Praat, and it's the top notch. It's the default. It's the best program for like phonetic analysis that linguists use. This was made in Paint in like 30 seconds. They tried rebranding it a couple in like 2020, but no one bought it. This is still in the official website and everything, so we're going with Praat. As you can see here, I have taken the liberty of doing is that I have this. This is what we just saw on the video. That was the language part. Now, I tried to look if there's any things I can find. This could be a vowel. It could be a kind of consonanty thing. That could be a consonant. There's not much here. This sounds like a diphthong to me. So gliding from one vowel to the next, wow, or something like that. Oh, wow. So that's the first instance. There's not much there, other than the sounds they make remind me of Sand People sounds in the previous films, which would indicate to me that they have a different articulatory chamber than humanoids do. Next time we have language stuff.
It's okay, it's okay. I got this. Down.
Tota. Sabine was taught this as a way to calm down the raid, the howler, by stormtroopers. It's interesting to me that they haven't been taught to respond to basic down, for example, even though it seemed like the stormtroopers raising them do speak Galactic Basic. Because if you think about pet relationships, usually pets are taught to obey the language that the owners use. So English owners would teach their dog to respond to down or sit. Other language speakers would probably teach pets to respond to stimulus in that language. So why has the howler not been taught basic? Is it because, well, were they stolen from the bandits? Were the bandits teaching it? Is Tota in the language the bandits use, which we come to later? But here we get into the Noti language. Sabine runs into the Whittle guides. Now that is probably, subtitles say grunting. There might be some linguistic material in there, but I wouldn't be able to recognize that from just grunting, or if there's some oh no or heck. How many minutes are we in? Shit. The subtitles say speaking Noti language.
No.
And that's interesting. So we have a name for this language. I analyzed this. Okay, this is what we just heard. A part of it anyway. I've boosted this a little bit to be easier to hear. So we have, basic stuff, velar plosives, some vowels. There's I think here's one I prepared earlier. If we look at this, we can see the voice labial velar approximant, so kind of the English wa. But the really interesting thing, and the thing that I noticed while watching, that I started analyzing, is these parts. There's nothing there, and that's the point, because if you listen to the previous and the following vowel, all of this together, R-E, R-E. There's a pause there, and that's the glottal plosive, that's the glottal stop, which means that when you have your voice box, you have your vocal folds, which are shaped like this, and they do this, and then they kind of wiggle about a lot. When you do a glottal stop, you just shut them off for a bit. Shut them off. No air is coming through. This does happen in English sometimes. It's not a speech sound, but it does appear in some dialects. For example, stereotypically British Cockney working class dialects, in words like bottle or butter, babysitter. Where did that come? And that's really interesting because it looks like it is a speech sound in this language. And then here we have a bunch of them. How? I'm not sure if that is this could be analyzed differently too. That could be analyzed as just how, but I feel like there is a more sudden stop to the sound. So I did analyze a glottal stop and a glottal fricative H there. How. I'm not sure. And then this is also interesting. I don't know if this is a speech sound or if this is just them drawing breath in. But if it's a speech sound, it would be an ingressive voiceless glottal fricative. Here's one I prepared earlier. It's not even on this list. This is the International Phonetic Alphabet, which is supposed to represent every sound, every speech sound in all the human languages. A pretty Eurocentric origins and everything, but there's no ingressive voicing here. It's in the appendices. That's what that arrow downwards means, but it is a glottal voiceless fricative, but ingressive. So if you need to write down, this is how you would do it, but it sounds like it could be a speech sound for me. It sounds like it could be part of the language.
How?
And you could analyze another glottal stop there, maybe. How? This, it's so cool. I immediately noticed all the glottal stop.
Kuku wa ituki no ia how?
Kuku wa ituki no ia how? I suppose it's partly cool for me because none of the languages I speak have the glottal stop as a speech sound, as a meaningful speech sound. Then they continue.
Maku wa how? Mataku a how?
Now I'm not sure if this is again a glottal stop or if that's a glottal fricative. Or if you could also analyze this as first a glottal stop and then a fricative. But again, there's that same sound again. Nothing happening. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. I love that so much. But yeah, that's our first touch into this language. And I don't know if they deliberately chose to do vocal glottal stops because of, I don't know, them being less familiar to English speakers at least. So then if we look at here, the Noti speaks again. I have that analyzed as well. There's a lot of glottal stops here. I didn't annotate all the sounds, but here's like a bit of what we heard. Okay, first of all, there's some kind of a ra sound, which I love. And it appears later too. Oh, something. This might be a bit more... Here's one I prepared earlier. I think the first one is a bit more forward in the throat, which would probably make it like a, I don't know, velar fricative. Ra, 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 ra. It might be even more front. And the latter one sounds a bit more back. Ho, more uvular. Ho, ho, ho. To English speakers, that might be just a French sound, because English speakers are exposed to French, and French has the and then there's just a bunch of glottal stops. If we look at here, for example, it's just a lot of this is like a fun part. But those are not glottal stops, those are happening somewhere in the alveolar region or something. And then another one. And another one. And another one. It's all in all, there's just a lot of glottal stops in this language that the speaker is speaking.
Ezra?
After that, we get a lot of them. And it sounds like there's something like Toto when they're popping up. That might be like how or something, which is why I said Toto in the beginning of the video. But now I'm not sure if I hear as many glottal stops. If we listen to this, and I have to turn my volume up, and I will turn it post, but...
No, stay.
I think I might have heard one.
I don't believe it. You...
But after that, I didn't hear as many at all. Okay, I don't know if a lot of speakers speaking at the same time might like cloud over kind of glottal stops because there's a lot of airwaves passing around. That was interesting to me. Not when I watched it, then I didn't see it, but now looking at it afterwards, how's there so few glottal stops now? And then my immersion, my poor immersion. We have our villains that are really cool. I really like them as villains, but they are ambushed by the bandits. We saw ambush Sabine earlier. And now, if we look at this, subtitles say bandits speaking Noti language. Noti, probably, not naughty. But here I was like, they claim it's the same language. It sounds so different. Do they have the same vocal tract as the humanoids? Because the Noti have to have a vocal tract that is maybe similar to humanoid vocal tracts. The lip movements did not match their bilabial sounds, but they might have another set of lips behind their outer lips that do the articulatory bilabial stuff, maybe. I'm willing to. I'm happier if they don't use CGI to make that, instead using puppets. But when I looked at this, it seemed so different. This is what we just heard. Now, I can't even make clear if these are vowels or consonants. Because they have kind of a vocalic quality. They have clear formants. If we look at these red dots, that means that there's formants that some frequencies are stronger than others, and that determines how we hear the sounds, what vowels we hear. So these do have formants. So it's kind of like a creaky voice quality vowel, I think. It could be a creaky voice vowel. That's like creaky voice, which happens in English. It happens a lot in Finnish, which I hadn't noticed myself until I read it somewhere, and then I listened to Finnish people speaking. It does happen. It's more stigmatized when women do it, of course, especially in America. And then if men do it, then it's a sign of I don't know, power and calmness and authority, which I do a lot, even though I'm not a man, I'm not a woman, but like for some reason I do it a lot without noticing. Maybe it's just my Finnish background, but that might be a creaky vowel. But I don't know if that's a distinguishing quality in the language. I don't know if that's a consonant. That sounds low enough, and there's no clear formants. That's probably a consonant, not a vowel. But could be some kind of very slow trill, which is when parts of your meat tube, you're a meat tube, by the way. Hello, nice to meet you. Oh no. Your meat tube parts like flap against each other very quickly. That's what a trill is, like the R sound. It's just your tongue is doing this very quickly. And that's also a speech sound. Here's one I prepared earlier. It sounds like they have less and less, certainly a humanoid vocal tract. And you can see the individual hits here. You could analyze this maybe as a glottal stop. Maybe not. But it doesn't sound like it's a humanoid vocal tract, in which case I don't know how they would be speaking the same language as the Noti, which clearly have a very humanoid vocal tract. That might, again, be a vowel? Maybe creaky? Maybe they have masks that cause that kind of sound. That sounds a bit too low to be a vowel then. So here I went like, what? Is it supposed to be the same language? Or is it just subtitling that is not what's actually happening? I don't know that. But there's none of the same consonant. I couldn't hear any of the stops and nasals and stuff that we heard in the Noti speech. And then it gets even weirder because, spoilers by the way, we meet Ezra.
Of course.
And Ezra has learned the language, it looks like, because it says Ezra speaks Noti language. But also it sounds very different. Speaking Noti language. Ezra's part. Did we hear any post-alveolar fricatives in the Noti speech? I don't think we did. We have velar stops, alveolar stops, all kinds of vowels. We have nasals. Thus far, there's no sh or s sounds. It's all happening, a lot of vowels everywhere. But then in Ezra's speech, then we have maybe a flap, which is kind of the r, but just one of those hara. Itiriti. What? And then we have this, maybe that's an African, and there's either a glottal stop, or you could stop the airflow with your tongue, in which case it's not a glottal stop. So I wouldn't analyze that as a glottal stop, probably. There's no glottal stops. There's this flap, which didn't exist earlier. And there's these post-alveolar fricatives. It sounds very different from the Noti language. But then we have... Then again, there's no glottal stops in there either. But it does seem to be using the same inventory as before. There's no sh sounds here. So I'm not exactly sure what to make of this. I looked at the credits. There didn't seem to be a language consultant, a linguist or something. So it's probably audio designers or someone who's given instructions on how they want the language to sound. But it seems like they would have given different instructions to the Noti voice actors and Ezra's actor and the Bandits, even though according to the subtitles they should all be speaking the same language. And Ezra is clearly speaking their language, so that at least should be the same. My immersion is ruined and my day is fine. I still loved this episode. I still love the couple episodes that have 5 and 6, I think, have been bangers. It doesn't ruin my immersion, but it immediately catches my attention. And then there's other fun linguistic stuff that I started thinking about, is that the mothers speak Basic, Galactic Basic, English.
Welcome, child of Dathomir. You do our ancestors.
And I don't know if they are... Spoilers, by the way, we're in a different galaxy than the usual galaxy far, far away. Were they taught English by Thrawn? Apparently this is the planet where the Night Sisters first came from into the usual Star Wars galaxy. Did that start the spread of Basic in the Star Wars galaxy? I don't know if that would be, like, it would originate in here. I don't believe so. Did the mothers learn Basic from Thrawn? Did they learn it from Night Sister magic communing with Mother Talzin and Dathomir? Mother Talzin has a different accent than these mothers.
Sacrifice has never been forgotten.
It is different from the accent of Basic that these mothers have, which is interesting to me. Why is that? And then, of course, Okay, so yeah, we have Thrawn. we have Thrawn. Who is the same, apparently. I haven't verified this, I might be spreading misinformation, but apparently that's the same actor who did the voice for Thrawn in the animated series. And Thrawn is portrayed with a RP-ish British accent.
What was first just a dream has become a frightening reality for those who may oppose us.
Oppose us. And that's been done many times in media, where sophisticated villains are portrayed with an RP accent. And that, you could write a whole book about that, and it's just so cool. I am freaking out about linguistics anytime I watch anything. Do tell me if you enjoy this stuff, if you want me to look into something else as well. I can do this all day. I literally spent more time doing acoustic analysis on this episode than I did for the exam where I used it last time. I just love this stuff. So if you have anything else you would like a linguistic analysis on, I would love to look at it. Please have a lovely day. You are loved. Let's go spread some love to anyone who needs it.